You think Common Ground is worth a buck? Consider leaving a tip at lptv.org. Lakeland Public Television presents Common Ground, brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Serendipity, yeah, whatever comes up, comes up. And I know what I mean. I got a simple way to go into the whole thing. And that's, well, first of all, we got to get in our fire here.
Yeah, trying to get this little,
All
the flame up so the smoke goes down.
That's the variable? If the flame's up, the smoke goes down?
All
right. See what I know.
See, that's done smolder there.
Now, pretty much what I was thinking is, I could, well, I'll just do it, I like Martin's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to throw another log on there, or what?
That'll be all right.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
No, I like Martin's perspective on neither wolf nor dog, because it's rough being a white guy writing about Native stuff. It just is, and you need to do it respectfully. You need to be doing it in a fashion that communicates. The Natives have to think it's okay, and the white people have to learn something and not buy into all sorts of romantic stuff. So what I like to do is see, get the responses of different people. And Martin's an interesting guy to me. I met him actually through a friend online. He's young. He's got the point of view of a young guy out of Alaska. Good man by every measure I can see, and I liked his point of view on the books. And he speaks the truth. He says what he thinks about it. He says what he sees that he likes, what he doesn't like. And you and your dad liked the book. And I'll just say, so what kind of happened is I had a chance. Gustavus chose The Wolf at Twilight, the second book in the pair, Neither Wolf Nor Dog being the first. Gustavus chose it as the common book for their freshmen. And all the freshmen had to read it. And they called me and asked if I'd be willing to come down and give a convocation and talk. And they said kind of sheepishly, well, do you have an Indian you can bring? And I said, well, I'll have to check out in the pen and back and see if I've got any that'll be available. And anyway, so I thought about it. And I know a bunch of guys and women I could get, but we're all about the same age. And I thought, no, these are young kids. It's Gustavus students. The old white author is fine. But what they need to see is someone young, someone who's got a grasp on the issues, and a Native person. And I'd met, and we'd written a lot back and forth online. And so based on this recommendation of this teacher out in Albuquerque, I called Martin. Said, you willing to give it a shot at this? And he said the magic words. He said, if my dad can come. And the second I heard that, I said, that's my man. Because that is one of the values that I love in Native culture, is the valuation of the elders. And so anyway, I made the deal with Gustavus, and no one wants to know the innards of that process. It was not an easy thing, because getting him from Alaska, getting him and his dad down from Alaska, I think half their endowment is gone. But we did it. It was an absolutely wonderful experience. And I got together with these two guys, neither of whom I'd ever met. And his dad was just about my age exactly. Gentle man who, he crafted, how long did he work on that speech? It was weeks. He's working on it every day. And he got up there. I sort of did a little dog and pony show at the beginning, and just so I could set them up, because I said, I'm writing about Native people, but my whole goal as a writer is to bring you to the Native people and let them speak. Now, I can read you out of my books, but what I'd rather do is actually have you hear from someone. So Martin introduced his dad, played his flute a bit, and his dad spoke, and his dad was really nervous, and he just galvanized those people. He got a standing ovation at the end, and it was enough to bring tears to your eyes, because it was a ratification for him in front of a white audience. He'd done a lot of speaking in front of Native groups, but this was in front of a white audience, an academic audience. And I mean, he was just powerful and honest. And we decided we'd stay a couple extra days. So we hung out down there and just stayed in the lunchroom. And we'd go into the lunchroom and sit and eat with people and talk to them. They all came up. Some of them were interested in talking to Martin. Some of them were interested in talking to me. Some were interested in talking to his dad. And we just got to be real good friends. I think we all came out of it feeling that it was a good experience and a ratifying experience. I mean, I came back saying, God, this is the way I'd like to do stuff from now on. I'd love to have a Native voice there with me, especially an articulate Native voice. So it's not me standing as an intermediary or an interpreter, because it's utterly bizarre. It's a bizarre reality that non-Native people will bring a non-Native person in to be a voice or an interpreter of Native things. If they'd called me in because they wanted me to talk about black people, I'd have been run out of town quickly, and rightly so. But they'll always say, "Oh, come in. We want to know what Native people think about that." It's an odd phenomenon. Anyway, so Martin and his dad came, and it was a friendship that I've come to. I really value this. I think this is neat. I enjoy. I was so happy to hear you guys were going to come up. So anyway, and like I said, Martin had really good thoughts on my work, and his dad had some good thoughts on my work. So. Say whatever kind of stuff you can think about the book or whatever you want to say about that.
The experience at Gustavus was great, and I think that was just the tip of the iceberg where our relationship is evolving, growing, and the book really, both books, A Wolf at Twilight and Neither Wolf Nor Dog, are very well done. I think it's oftentimes it's like you see non-Native authors or non-Native people making films about Indians, and it's like it's always an outside perspective. So a lot of the times the people that are doing those types of films or the people that are writing those types of books, they put in there what they want to put in there, and they put in there what's going to sell or what's appealing. What I like about Neither Wolf Nor Dog is it's pretty much well, obviously you're traveling with Grover and Dan, some Lakota elders. So, and really the book is, in a lot of ways it's Dan's book. You just put the words in the book, so his message comes across, and it's inside perspective of Native people being put on a paper by Kent, who's a great writer, so it's not just one perspective, it's a lot of different perspectives, because you explain how you understand their perception of reality, and through your own perspective and how you view the world and truth, and how people can learn from that. And I think that's perfect, because there's a big gap in communications between natives and non-natives. It's always been like that. I think we're moving in the right direction in a lot of ways, and I think in a lot of ways we're not moving in the right direction. But for somebody, like when I read that book, it was a good feeling, and I feel like it's a step in the right direction for bridging that gap in communications and helping people evolve their understanding of the differences in culture. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing, because a lot of people are going to come into Indian country, and they already know what they're gonna be looking for. They already know what they want to see. They already know what they want to hear. It's just getting that, getting that fix. Like, it's like a drug addict going to his dealer. They know what they're gonna get, and it's like they know how to get it.
How pure will it be? Right?
Yeah,
And
how
much
pure
you have
will
to
it
pay,
be?
right?
And it's like, so when they get that, it's a selfish satisfaction being fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to learn rather than to experience, I think you come away with a much deeper understanding, and people are more open to sharing sacred things or important things or just teachings or whatever it may be that they're going to share, or just sharing friendships. And I think that's the biggest thing about bridging that gap is developing those relationships in a positive way. I think there's a lot that you know, that our tradition has to teach, our culture, our traditional values, and there's a lot that's in there. You know, it's not just, it's very dynamic.